at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. It's on Sportsmanlike 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
ESPN Honolulu presents The Charlie Wade Show, brought to you by Hawaii USA Federal Credit Union, HDS, Hawaii Pacific Health, Ruby Tuesday Hawaii, HGEA, HCamp, Castle Resorts and Hotels, Aloha Termite and Pest Control, and Hawaiian Financial Federal Credit Union.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of The Charlie Wade Show. We are live here at Ruby Tuesday at the Moanalua Shopping Center. Kanoa Leahey sitting next to the head coach of the Rainbow Warrior volleyball team, Charlie Wade. And much to get to, the long-anticipated, every year one of the biggest events in volleyball, Outrigger Invitational, went down this past weekend, and there is a whole lot to break down. In addition to Charlie being here, we got a couple of players. Kurt Nster and Christian Tatiski are in the house. We will be talking with them a little bit later on in the program as well. Charlie, how you doing here today?
I'm good. Good to be here.
Pretty nice, good crowd.
Yeah. Imagine if we'd won. I don't see an empty table here. They'd have to bring more tables in. Appreciate everyone being out here tonight, and yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, always a fantastic atmosphere, and we thank all of those who came down to be here in person. We will start, if you would indulge us, we do want to start on what is more of a somber note. I want to give you the opportunity, Charlie, to just speak to the horrible news that we all received on Sunday, the passing of sports writing legend, member of the University of Hawaii Circle of Honor, advocate for volleyball, covered women's and men's volleyball for so many years, Cindy Lewis. Our hearts and our prayers go out to our colleague Tiff Wells, who is going through the mourning process now, and so we want him to know that he is definitely on our minds here. But just wanted to ask you about your thoughts as we were all coming to grips with that sad news this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Cindy was such a special part of just the sports landscape here in Hawaii, and specifically for volleyball, men and women. An integral part of both programs for a long, long time. Obviously, I'm in year 16 with the men and was with the women for 11. So, she was really a special friend, and just somebody that was an ultimate professional and did her job, and really a strong advocate for the sport and for the players. And and Tiff is literally, it's just like I relate to it a little bit because, literally we've seen him grow up, professionally, certainly in what he's doing. And as I watch my sons, this whole thing does become, kind of family-oriented. You're around it and you're a part of it, and we know each other. And, we really do kind of our lives intertwine a lot more than just on a professional level. So definitely hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to Tiff and the family, and it's been a rough kind of spell with all the kind of OGs on the sports media side, back to Kay Kaula and obviously Bobby recently, and your dad, and Don Robs, and it's just been. We must be getting old, bro.
2025 needs to let up a little bit on us with some of this news. But I appreciate your words there. And, one of the greatest points of pride for Cindy was the level of achievement for Tiff as an announcer, as a play-by-play broadcaster. And I know that every time he was on the air, it filled her with great joy. And so we just, once again, want to express our love and aloha for Tiff and the entire family. We make now the very impossible and difficult transition into what we normally do here on the Charlie Wade Show, and that's talking about Rainbow Warrior volleyball. It was the Outrigger Invitational here this past weekend. Hawaii would win the first two matches against Ball State and Penn State by way of a sweep. USC would do the same, and it set up a true Outrigger Invitational championship matchup on Saturday night. A top 5 matchup at that. Number 3 Hawaii, number 5 USC. That was perhaps what a lot of people were anticipating, what a lot of people were expecting as being the result of this invitational. But Charlie, that was a big one. Hawaii and USC. What was sort of the thought process going into that?
Yeah, you said something there that I guess I didn't really dawn on me, but a couple of people asked me on the media side, like you guys, that it was a true championship level. Somebody always wins the damn tournament. I know what you're talking about. But the tournament has been so competitive over the last several years that we haven't had two teams go 2-0 and sweep the other opponent. So I literally just figured it out while you were saying it. Like, what the hell are you talking about? And it did set up a match against two of the best teams in the country, and they clearly were better than us. Dylan Klein had a phenomenal match. Really like. I mean, I've said the AVCA Player of the Week is the Outrigger MVP pretty much every year. With Spiros last year, and you go, I think historically, you come out of that thing, you win that tournament, and you were the best player on that team. You deserve it, and certainly Dylan was very deserving. Like, he played amazing, and we were just okay. It just seemed like there were some real bright spots for me, and I know Christian's here tonight, and I talked about how well he served. He missed one time on the night, and that's real progress, 92% in bounds. And so, that's something that I remain hopeful. Adrian played really well offensively. His serving was a bit neurotic. I don't think he served in bounds until the third set. So, that's just kind of where we're at with this. We're good enough to be the best team on any given night, and we certainly haven't proven that we're the best team every night. And right now, the only team that's done that is Long Beach. And it seems like there is a little separation coming where, obviously Long Beach sitting here now is the only undefeated team left, and everybody else has got a couple losses, but they generally have been to each other. So the pack is trying to separate a little. But I'd still say, look, when you play in the Big West and you play in the MPSF, there's still a lot of matches to be played. And even the top teams, we are not immune to taking on a team like Northridge, Santa Barbara on the road, even San Diego next week, where those teams are good enough to beat anybody in any given night. And if we're not sharp and we're not efficient, you come out on the short end of it. So a lot of really important volleyball left to be played, and I was just thrilled that we got another great crowd for it. It had nearly 9,000 people come out and support, and that really starts to kind of define where the program's at now. The SCAD was just. He came up to me a couple nights and going, I never seen anything like it, and he brought up, and I'd already done the data. We literally outdraw like every Pac-10 men's basketball school. Like a couple years ago, when the Pac-10 was still the Pac-10, we outdrew everybody but UCLA and Arizona. And now they're not even in the league anymore. So, but what we're the kind of support that we're getting, what we're doing in men's volleyball right now is certainly unprecedented in men's volleyball, and really impressive in college athletics. And we're now competing with the big-time, blue blood men's basketball schools, which it's awesome.
Yeah, I think the latest attendance number average is 6,405, and you imagine that's only going to increase and go up as we continue to maneuver here through this season. More on that USC matchup, because as you mentioned, Dylan Klein, he had an otherworldly experience, 21 kills, 1 hitting error, he hit 588. You also had Jack Duker, the Punahou product, who had 15 kills, hit 324. His family and some followers were very vocal along courtside there in rooting on Jack Duker, and he definitely obliged with also 5 service aces. How much of it, you said we just didn't quite necessarily have our best. How much of it was that? How much of it was USC was kind of on one that particular night? Well,
that's hard to quantify, but clearly both of those things happened. And look, the other match that we lost was at home against Stanford, where every set was deuce, and we were just okay. And they got one guy just going off. The night it was Theo Snowy, and we saw Dylan Klein one night. Like we're just okay. And you have one guy that is having the best night of his career, and that'll push you over the edge. So we hope if one of their guys are having the best night, we hope one of our guys will step up and cover it. But that certainly wasn't the case on Saturday. We do want to open things up for questions. If you want to text in, if you want to call in, 808-296-1420 is the number. And let me say, not to interrupt you, but I'd say this, so look, I'm not on social media. I'm not on message boards, stuff like this. And I say to, when Kanoa and I are talking about it, and I'm saying this to not only people here, but people listening, whatever it is that is talked about men's volleyball, specifically UH men's volleyball and stuff going on with the program, for me, there's nothing that's really off, base, I'll answer the question. If it's something that, because of NCAA rules or something I'm not allowed to, or something still in the works, I won't maybe be able to answer it. But if there are topics of interest, like things that are kind of like, hey, what about this and this, and they kind of going back and forth, if I can help shine any light on that, or answer any question or explain something, let's do it. Have at it.
All right. Well, game on. So if anybody here also in the building wants to ask a question or make a comment, please raise your hand. We'll chase you down and we'll get the comment and question here on the air. When you talk about this Hawaii and USC matchup, while certainly USC just sort of had one of those nights, perhaps Hawaii just good as you described it, did that match, though, expose any kinds of vulnerabilities or any areas that you feel like, all right, this is going to have to be a focus for us going forward? Like, we're going to have to be better in order to get to the level that we need to get to.
Yeah, it's a fair question. And look, I didn't turn in my poll on Monday. I missed it in the morning. I got to do it by 8 o'clock, and I would have left us at 3 and had them behind us. I don't think it leapfrogged them over us because they win one match. I thought we were not great. They had one guy unbelievable. So to answer to your question specifically, yeah, are there things we need to get better at? Yes, and one of those just being more consistent. Like typically your opposite is your most dominant point scorer. Ours has been very, very good. He has been National Player of the Week, and he's played. He didn't have a great night, and that's the thing too, where we are. There are times I'm looking out there where we got 4 freshmen and 2 sophomores on the court. We're still in that kind of learning curve, and really the part that learning. They're not going to learn how to receive better. They're going to learn how to receive more consistently on play after play after play. And that's the part that elite level players are just more consistent. And that's the part is this team and these individuals play well over a period of time. You'll see the consistency go up, and it'll make us a better team. Yeah,
full disclosure, USC did jump up to number 3 from 5. Hawaii went to 4. UC Irvine went from 4 to 5. Texter is chiming in. 808-296-1420 is the number. What would you have to say, Coach, about pin blocking, was the question from this texter.
Well, I mean, in related to the match or just in general?
I think just probably as it pertains to that match and maybe going forward.
So it's something that we work on. We'll work on a lot tomorrow. The fastball to the pin, and it looks easier than it is. The reason all the teams are running it fast, because in men's volleyball, everybody starts in a bunch read, and they make a move laterally, and they're still moving with a lateral. They're literally moving sideways and kind of blowing by the guy, and then they rotate and they pull off. And we're talking about if we're in the blocking the left side attacker as the right side blocker, they over-rotate and pull off their left hip, left shoulder, left hand, and they're not reaching into the cross court. We work a lot on it. We weren't great at it. I talked to Christian throughout the match. He got in to kind of make it, and he was helping with because they were setting Dylan the Bick so much, you had to start inside a little tighter. And now you're a little bit late getting out to the pin, and his first move was back towards the attacker instead of reaching into the court, because we know, Sterling Foley was the best player in the country with this 24 class when he was 12, and he was just okay the other night, but he's a high-level player. So being in position to reach into the cross was something like we could have been better at it. And look, overall, when we served in bounds well, we got them out of system and got them off the net, and we're able to triple block, and they sometimes the ball bounces your way. Like we were solid and set, and it would just catch you an outside hand or dribble along the net, something. It was one of those that we needed to get them out of system more often to get in position to defend more, because all the ones that we were doing, we weren't scoring enough.
All right, well, we're just getting started here. We have so much more to talk to. We're going to hear from the 2 players in the house, Kurt Nster and Christian Tatiski, a little bit later on in the show. But we are very happy to once again be here at Ruby Tuesday at the Moanalua Shopping Center. It is the Charlie Wade Show. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back. Again, 808-296-1420, the number to call or text. More with the coach when we return. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Charlie Wade Show. We are live here at Ruby Tuesday at the Moanalua Shopping Center. Kanoa Leahey sitting next to the head coach of the Rainbow Warrior Volleyball program, Charlie Wade. And Charlie did solicit questions of all varieties, and so we are getting a whole bunch of texts now coming into the show. 808-296-1420 is the number to call. This texter asks, with the way that the Saturday championship match ended, do you expect/relish the idea of a UH versus USC rematch, perhaps in the NCAA volleyball final, is what this texter is saying. So maybe putting the cart before the horse a little bit, but there is a chance you see them again.
Well, the only way we play them is going to be in the NCAA tournament. If it's in the quarterfinal, semifinal, or final, I think our guys like another shot at that for sure. I talked to some of them over the weekend, post-match, and we'll take another shot at it.
Yeah. What is it like for you when you see across the net a guy like Dylan Klein? Maybe you can add Jack Duker and what he was doing, especially from the service line, when they just have it grooving. And, we had a texter ask about the pin blocking specifically, but now, as of now, going into that tournament, I think Hawaii was top 5. You're still top 6 in blocks per set nationally. And so the blocking numbers have been there, but what makes it so difficult when you're dealing with someone like Dylan Klein, who is having one of those out-of-body experiences?
Well, that's just it. I mean, you just keep trying to do what we're doing. We know we're a good blocking team. We know how to block. We got big guys, and and he literally ended every important rally in all those sets, especially early in the match, where it was just like they would go to him, and he was just having one of those nights, and you got to kind of tip your hat. You hope as the match is playing on that you can stay on the floor long enough, because everything reverts to the mean. Right? It's going to come back to our way a little bit. And we kept talking about that in terms of the serving and the out-of-system defending. And the match ended before we had a chance. I remember in the post-game, you were talking about the call in the second set where it was like, he said something like, I know. And somebody texted me today and sent me the thing, and I'd seen it that night, like, holy shiza! Like the guy netted and was under.
Yeah.
Like you could have called either one of them. It was Dylan. Like he jumped in. That would have been a hitting there in the second set. Like he netted and went under before the ball fall, and that would have made it like 18-19 or something close in a very relevant part of the match still. So look, and some nights it all just goes your way.
Yeah.
Whether it's the replay or the ball bounce off the lock or the net court ball that you serve tough and hit. That's some nights it just it goes your way.
Yeah, he was even winning the reviews somehow, Dylan Klein. Right. But you're right. That's the key aspect of that call. You challenged that call saying there was a net. And if the net or crossing of the middle line occurs,
he did both
before the ball hits the ground, then that should be a violation. And I think the replay clearly showed that happened. But, as they say, you win some and you lose some. Let's get to some more text messages. We have gotten a lot of questions about this, and we will definitely ask Christian himself. But, Coach, what happened with Christian getting chippy with some of the USC players or fans? Do you think over the course of the match it affected his play? I think the most overt thing was sort of at the end of the match. There seemed to be a little bit of a flare-up.
I thought they were talking about, like, what are they going to do for St. Patrick's Day?
And
kind of, Yeah, look, I mean, these are young, emotional guys that are super into it, and kind of getting fanned by the flames. There were some other guys on the side that were throwing a little gas on the fire, and it's just part of it, And look, Christian texted me after the match, and then he and I spoke later that night too, and he's totally taken ownership for all that. He recognized that he needs to be more in control and be able to handle that. And I said, look, this is part of our world. You know what I mean? We are in the biggest fishbowl on the planet when it comes to men's volleyball. We've got to win like champions, and we got to lose like champions. You're not going to win every match, but you have to have. And we say this a lot too, that our lives are different. This is not where you can go and where it's acceptable, where the fans are just talking trash and yelling at guys, and it's not acceptable in my world as the head coach of this program, where guys are, constantly bickering and talking trash. Some of it's okay. These guys know each other so much. They've been playing with and against each other for so long. You got to let a little bit of it go, but just one of those things. I didn't see it as too crazy either way, and hopefully we learn from it and move on.
Yeah, we will get Christian's response to some of those questions as well. I think we'd all be interested to hear that. But it's interesting that you mention the fact that, these are young guys. And in the case of your team, you have a lot of underclassmen. And so even if some of them are a little bit on the older side for their class designations, they're still relatively new to college volleyball and that overall experience. And how do you sort of include that when you are evaluating your team's performance on a night where USC was led by a bunch of guys who have been around the game for years?
Yeah, for sure. Duker's a grad student, and the other middle who was doing the chirping is a grad student. So those guys, they absolutely know what they're doing. Yeah, that's just part of it. Like I said, and I think we saw when we went to BYU, that was the first time that Christian, Adrian, they'd seen these where it's like, that's not how volleyball is witnessed and attended throughout the world. Like, they'll go and they'll cheer loud make a lot of noise, and they're literally allowed to bring noisemakers and drums and all kinds of the vuvuzela. Like I said, we had this conversation where they can do whatever, but they don't start being personal and attacking you, and that's stuff where, you're any human, let alone a young man, that somebody starts to attack you personally and stuff. Yeah, it's gonna get on your skin a little bit, and you're gonna respond.
This texter asking, do you think the cameras should be higher resolution for the replays? I think I know where you're going in this answer.
Yeah, and it's not the higher res, it's the frame rate, right?
Yeah.
We're very much. But look, like they said, the one that we saw, it was not a fast play, and there were multiple camera angles, and I did see the replay where you guys are looking at it going, yep, this is pretty simple. Yep, this is pretty simple, and yeah, it didn't quite go that way.
Yeah. But you're right. The frame rate is the key, and I think this texter added, in the BYU matches, the replays appeared to be much clearer, and they just have the higher frame rate replays, and so maybe we will get to that point.
I've been trying. We've been talking with Spectrum forever. We bought some. We do have. There are some there, but they're not. And that's where all this is headed, right?
Yeah,
you definitely got to you invest in the higher frame rate, and then you can see it more definitively.
We have more texts and more questions to get to, but we also want to hear from some of the players who are in the house, as is the case every time we do the Charlie Wade Show. And so since we mentioned him, Christian, if you're cool with joining us here in this next segment, we will hear from outstanding freshman opposite hitter Christian Titriyski on the other side of this break. Folks, it's the Charlie Wade Show here live at Ruby Tuesday at the Moanalua Shopping Center. We'll be back.
oahucu.com or visit us for more details.
Membership open to Oahu and Maui residents. Federally insured by NCUA.
You're listening to The Charlie Wade Show on ESPN Honolulu.
All right, welcome back to the Charlie Wade Show. We're live at Ruby Tuesday at the Moanalua Shopping Center. Kanoa Leahey sitting next to Rainbow Warrior head coach Charlie Wade. And now joining us here at the table, we have freshman opposite hitter Christian Titriyski. How about a hand for Christian? What a season you are off to, Christian. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
What has this season been like for you, moving to Hawaii and suiting up and playing in the arena and putting up the kind of numbers that you're putting up here in your freshman campaign? How has it felt? What has it been like?
It's pretty nice. I can say Hawaii is by far the most beautiful place I've ever been to, and by far the kindest people I've ever seen here. The crowd, everyone. The support, I feel like I'm home with all the support I get from everyone, so I'm pretty thankful to be here. Thanks to Charlie and all the staff for having me here, and yeah.
Is it up to what you expected, especially the volleyball part of it? It seems as though you have taken to it well. You have transitioned well to college volleyball with the fact that you are averaging 4.35 kills per set, hitting 328. You've already been recognized as a National Player of the Week. You've been recognized as a Big West Offensive and Freshman of the Week multiple times over. So how has that lived up to what you were expecting coming in?
Now, my expectations about this league were that the volleyball is just college level, and it's normal. Like, you come here to study and play the volleyball at the same time. It's not a professional league for sure. So yeah, I expected the level to be a little bit lower than the level in Bulgaria. So, but it's pretty good level. I mean, I've learned so many new things. I met so many new players, and I've seen so many new styles of playing. So I've learned new things, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Bulgaria. You are from Sofia, Bulgaria, and all Hawaii fans will recognize that as also being the hometown of Hawaii legend Rado Parapunov, and also it's being the hometown for some incredible volleyball talent, including the Nikolov brothers. What is it about Sofia, Bulgaria? Why are there so many talented volleyball players coming out of there?
Rado is not from Sofia.
Oh, okay.
He was born in another city, but he played in Sofia.
Okay.
I don't know what. Yeah, me and Momoni and the Nikolov brothers are from Sofia. I don't know what it's about Sofia. It's just we played volleyball since we're like probably this though. Like everyone, we started playing volleyball. I started at 10. The Nikolov brothers started at 4. They're from a volleyball family. My parents are not athletes. My mom made me play volleyball. Which I didn't want at the beginning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I hated volleyball at the beginning.
Why is that?
I just didn't want to play. Everyone was playing soccer and basketball after school, and I just didn't want to go to play volleyball. I wanted to play soccer, and I just lied to my coach that I'm sick almost every week. Yeah, we had like 3 times a week volleyball, and I was not showing up. Probably for a month, my first 3 years. I was pretty bad. I was just tall and athletic, and that was it. But then I changed my club, and I started becoming better. And, you know, when you just do something better, you start liking it. This is how I fell in love with volleyball.
Well, that's pretty amazing. That's funny. You were playing hooky all of those months, and then finally fell in love with the game. And you hopefully are continuing to fall in love with playing in Hawaii as well. And we have enjoyed watching you play for sure. There's something interesting about you, and there seems to be this like seriousness or this focus when you're on the court, especially I have observed when you are behind the service line. Sometimes you will serve an ace or make a great play from back there. And while oftentimes teams will sort of gather together and they'll shake hands and hugs, you will turn around and go right back to behind the service line as if you're trying to stay in the zone. Yeah. What is your thought process there?
Nah, it's just my routine. It's my thing to do. When I'm behind the service line, I just sprint out there. Don't celebrate. Just focus on the next play. Focus on the new serve. Because, the serve... You don't need a setter. You don't need a pass. It's just you and the ball. So I want to be pretty focused on what I'm doing, and that's it. There's nothing deeper behind that. It's just simple as that.
We have Christian Titriyski joining us here at the table, and everybody was asking this question really since Saturday, and so we're going to go straight to you. What was your experience in that match against USC? We saw a little bit of a flare-up in tempers at the end of the match. Do you want to take us through kind of what you were observing and what happened there?
I mean, it's not a secret that we didn't play our best game, especially me. I had too many hitting errors. I don't think I played my best. I don't think the team played their best. This is the reason we lost. It was an emotional game, a final for the Outrigger. Everyone wanted to win. Everyone was so motivated before the game. We were all talking how we're going to go out there, give everything we have. And unfortunately, we saw how we were losing 2-0. We started the game like literally 2-0. We woke up after the second set. We played a little bit better, but unfortunately the fourth set we lost. So that's it. That's volleyball. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and we'll just go out there, grind some more, and we'll be back stronger.
Have you always sort of been a player that wears your emotion on your sleeve, so to speak, that is very outward in the way you express yourself?
I think I just need to find a balance between it. I'm either not emotions at all or too emotional, so I think I need to find a balance. I think it's not a secret, it's pretty obvious. I've been always wearing these emotions with me, and when I let them take control, it's not that beautiful. But I'm still learning, so.
Yeah. Well, that's the trick here, right, Charlie, is because I would imagine it's some of that emotion that drives him to be the player that he is. You don't want him to lose that edge, but it's about, as he's saying, finding a certain balance with it so that it doesn't consume him in the wrong times, right?
Yeah, 100%. And that's, the thing that as I'm watching this kind of volcano of emotions go on throughout the match, I've got to kind of gauge where, are we learning? Are we have a chance to get better, or is it time to pull him and let him sit down and watch? And and I've probably erred on the side, and I think something I've done throughout my career is when you see someone has this much talent that can be this talented and really could be. We're talking one of the best players in the world, not only one of the best players in collegiate volleyball in America, but one of the best players in the world. You want to help them evolve. You want to help them grow and get through that and learn to manage those emotions and harness that energy. And, that's what we saw on Saturday night.
Going back to Rado Parapunov for a bit, was his career at the University of Hawaii an influence for you in choosing to play here?
Yeah, so my story, again, it's not a secret. I almost committed to BYU, but...
Whoa.
Almost? Define almost. It's like almost being pregnant? Like, what is that?
Doesn't matter, but...
either did or you didn't.
Okay, so in the beginning, when I decided that I want to try to go into college, I told my mom, if Hawaii offers me, I'm going to go there no matter what. So one night obviously Rado was talking with Charlie before that, and one night Charlie called me and he was like, you want to come? And I was like, yeah. It was pretty much it. I think the call was no more than 10 minutes. And
yeah, I think we can all applaud that, right?
Yeah, it was nothing deeper than that. It was just like, you want to come? Yeah, okay.
As simple as that.
Yeah. And a few months later, I arrived here.
Have you been able to build any kind of relationship with Rado? Have you talked with him? Have you met him in person?
I met him this summer in Sofia. I was actually with Charlie. We had a dinner together. He's a nice guy. We are actually talking also on the phone sometimes after some games or before games. He has these advices that he can help with, especially he literally was here before me, a Bulgarian international, and I'm trying to listen to him. Whatever he says, I'm sure that he had a better career than me. I mean, National Player of the Year, won championship. There's always something that I can learn from him. There's always something that he has to say about my game, about my attitude. So I'm listening to what he says.
What did Rado tell you about this guy, Charlie, and how did this come to fruition, Christian Tatiski being a Rainbow Warrior?
Well, and I think I've said that. I was in the London airport on the way back from meeting with Adrian, and my phone is Rado, and of course I'm always going to take that call, and he was like, "Look, I think this guy can be Player of the Year candidate in the first year." He didn't cut to the, didn't sugarcoat it too much, and that's a pretty big statement coming from a guy who was an NCAA champion and NCAA Player of the Year, to saying that he's that talented that can be a Player of the Year candidate. I had seen Christian play in Argentina the summer before at the World Championship, and the talent was undeniable, but the word was that he was going to go pro because he was getting professional offers, and he's also a really good student, and decided to go the academic route here early in his career, so we're thrilled to have him.
How good, Christian, do you think this Hawaii team can be?
I think if not this year, next year for sure we can be a national champions. There's no doubt about it. We're young, but we're extremely talented. Everyone, we have depth in our team. On the opposite, me and Kanoa, Tread, the outside position, we have so many guys. We have depth, and we just need to learn how to work together, and we need to know each other better, actually. And when we learn to do this, I think we'll be unstoppable for sure. We can win everything, and there's no doubt about it. I'm sure that we can win everything. If not this year, next year. I promise.
Yeah. How would you describe the chemistry on the team, the closeness, the bond between you and your teammates?
I think in the beginning it was pretty much chaos. I mean, it's just two different personalities. Guys from France, from USA, from Bulgaria. I mean, it's just two different personalities. Now I think we know how to work together. We want to win. Everyone wants to win. And when you realize that when we talk in the locker room, hey guys, we actually want to win. So this is how we started playing better together. The chemistry in the team is becoming better, and everything is going up except this game with USC.
One of the things that stands out about you, among many other aspects of your game, the power with which you hit the volleyball. One of the anecdotes that I tell is before one of the Spectrum Sports telecasts, we had a tripod that was standing up in front of our media table, and during warm-ups, in came a ball, and I didn't even see it. It hit the tripod and broke the tripod.
I remember this, yeah.
That's a daily occurrence in our practice gym.
They were peppering. It wasn't even like they were taking full swings. It was peppering, yeah. What is your intention when you approach a ball and, when you have maybe that feeling of like, oh, I think this is one I can drive into? Like, are you consciously trying to pulverize the volleyball as hard as you can?
No, honestly, I don't think I hit that hard. It's just probably natural. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I don't go for the ball every time, and I'm like in my mind, I'm gonna hit that ball as hard as I can. No, I just hit the ball.
Lastly, before we let you go, Texter wants to know, I think a pretty common question for some of the international players that move here. What is your favorite local food here in Hawaii?
Ahi poke.
Ahi poke, there you go. All right. Christian Titriyski, everybody. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. Really look forward to the rest of the season, and good luck here going forward. That will bring us to another commercial break. How about another hand for Christian Titriyski, everybody? Charlie Wade Show will continue after this. We're going to get Kurt Nster in the house. You're listening to the Charlie Wade Show on ESPN Honolulu.
listening to The Charlie Wade Show on ESPN Honolulu.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's The Charlie Wade Show here live from Ruby Tuesday at the Moanalua Shopping Center. Kanoa Leahey sitting next to Rainbow Warrior head coach Charlie Wade, and now being joined at the table by another member of the Rainbow Warrior roster, middle blocker Kurt Nster. Kurt Nster. How you doing, Kurt?
Good. Go Titans.
Yeah. Keeping it in the Big West there. Kurt, now a redshirt junior. You're one of the older guys here on the team from Indianapolis, Indiana. What has been your approach here this season as one of those veteran guys?
I'm just trying to, do my part for the team from a playing point of view. Trying to make a little bit better decisions off the court, and then I think I'm one of the few people who can actually really speak to all the different roles on the team. I redshirted. I was a Seaside player. I had a meeting with Charlie early on my freshman year, and he said pretty bluntly, and this is completely true. I'm not upset with him for this. This is very accurate. He said I may have been one of the worst technical players we've ever had in the gym, which is pretty on par. I was horrible.
Leaves a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah. So I think I can really speak to, what it's like to redshirt and the importance of that, and what's it like to be on the B side and the importance of that, and then, starting what that's like.
Sure.
Some people who come in, they start off playing right away, they don't really understand that redshirting experience, so I'm really happy I got to go through that. It's very valuable.
Well, the improvement has been there quite clearly now as one of the fixtures in the middle for Hawaii, averaging over a kill per set, .398 percentage, team's leading blocker. And so when you look back on that journey and the fact that you are now a contributor to the level that you are, what kind of sense does that give you?
I'm just really grateful. I mean, a lot of it is, I worked pretty hard, put my head down, worked hard. But a lot of it is just I got really lucky, I got connected with the national team in Austria, and, they could have brought in transfers. There's a wide pool of players that are really good. And I really just got really lucky at the right time, and they invested in me. So, I'm really grateful for that. Things could have gone south at a lot of other programs, but I'm really grateful they kind of wrote it out and trusted me throughout that whole process.
And Charlie, how do you observe the fact that this guy stayed with it, continued to be diligent, worked hard in the gym, and is now where he's at in his career? Yeah,
it's a testament to his hard work. He committed to Pepperdine early on, and then it didn't quite work out the way he wanted to go, and came here. And the Austrian national team coach is a friend of mine I've known for a long time. He got that opportunity, and because Kurt has dual citizenship, stepped into that. I think that was a big part of kind of springboarding his career, exposing him to a higher level and showing him, how hard he needed to work. And, he's embraced that. And, look, the progression that he has made from, a kid coming out of Indiana and not playing at a high level to, his first real introduction was that UCLA match 3 years ago now in the Outrigger, where he stepped in for Cole Hoagland, played a big role in us beating the team that night, and he just continued to work hard, and it's fun to see. These are the stories that I like when it comes to coaching. See the guys that weren't the big-time recruits, but are now competing on teams that have a chance to win a national championship.
Kurt Nster sitting at the table. You have an interesting upbringing. You were born in Germany. Is that correct? Your dad played basketball for the Austrian national team. What was your sports upbringing like, and when did volleyball sort of really become the thing for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I originally, growing up in southern Indiana, you're kind of thrown into the basketball realm of things. But between a dad who played at a really high level and competitiveness of basketball in Indiana, even at such a young age, I kind of fell out of love with it pretty early. So I thought soccer was my thing, and then one day, like my parents told me, freshman year, I woke up and I was 6'6", and I couldn't play soccer, so I was like, well, what the heck do I do now? So I started with volleyball, the spring my freshman year. Didn't get serious about it until the summer between my sophomore and junior year. So that lack of exposure really contributed to my horrible technical skills. But
we don't have to dwell on that part. I mean, you've proven yourself to this point. But how good of a basketball player were you?
Horrible. So there was this rule in the elementary level basketball league in our town. At that level, all players were required to play 1 6-minute quarter. They had to get 6 minutes of playing time, everyone on the roster. And there were games where I didn't even get my 6 minutes.
You also swam, right?
Yeah, I did that my sophomore year. That was even worse than basketball. I don't know what I was thinking with that one. So, yeah.
An inauspicious beginning to your athletic career. We'll just describe it that way. But you are a guy who has, I think, a little bit of a streak going in what has become a bit of a routine and almost tradition prior to matches in chess, because there is a collection of players on the roster that compete regularly in chess. How did that come about, and where are you standing right now in the overall chess master ranks?
Yeah, it's still nowhere close to Kapono, so I'll stick with that.
Kapono Fei is the king. All right.
Yeah, but it's been really nice, and having Jaco back, it's almost a little bit nostalgic. I really feel like I'm getting old. So it's a good time, and then we've also incorporated Matthew Wheels, trying to look out for some of the younger guys, take them along. And it's a good way to get your mind right before you get a game, to really, we talk so much about warming up your body correctly before a game. But I think that kind of mental stimulation is actually really helpful in, getting parts of your brain moving in a way that isn't demanding on your body.
So I want to ask both of you this, and there's a texter who is asking a similar question. I'll just paraphrase here. But it's a bye week, comes at a time that you kind of feel, Charlie, is beneficial for this team, almost by design, the way you set up the early season schedule. How friendly is this bye week for you guys, you think? And how much does coming off of a loss further motivate what you guys are trying to accomplish here in this bye week? I'll start with you, Coach.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good time. Like I said, we kind of put it in there knowing that we're going to spring break, and our guys don't get a lot of time. We got a couple guys that I coached in club are at UCLA, and this is their spring break as well. They're home the whole week. I was just like, wow. I could imagine giving the whole week off in the middle of the season like that. But we've taken a couple days off. We'll be back in the gym tomorrow, and then we're gonna do kind of a little team bonding stuff where we're gonna head out to the North Shore on Thursday. We'll practice out at BYU, and then we're gonna run a keiki clinic in the morning on their campus, and then we're gonna play a match on Friday night. Just an inter squad.
Okay.
Kind of simulate some competition, get out there, and so it's a lighter week in terms of the overall practice and competition, but we're still gonna have an element of that to stay sharp, and that's always that balance, right? Where you don't want to grind them into the ground, and it's late in the year. And taking a couple days off after the weekend, I think, was absolutely the right thing to do, and let guys kind of recharge and give their legs a rest, and we'll get back after it tomorrow.
What's your motivation here this week, Kurt?
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of things we have to work on. I think those exposed, myself included, as a middle blocker, when I see a guy who I'm unable to shut down from a blocking point of view, that's kind of on me. There's no excuse for a guy to be able to hit. I think he was hitting like 800 first 2 sets. So definitely a lot of work I have to do. And these bye weeks are nice because, when you have quick turnaround, like you play a game on Sunday, then Monday you're taking it easy. And then if you've got a game Friday, then by Wednesday you're already starting to load manage. So there's not a lot of an opportunity to really practice at a high level and a high level of intensity. So I'm really excited to kind of work on some of those things that I need to work on and get a little bit of time off and bond with the team as well.
Yeah, let's talk about that, the bond of this team. I asked Christian a similar question. How do you feel about the vibe here right now on a team that started off with so many new players?
Yeah, I think everyone's getting along really well, actually, considering the amount of turnover we've had the past couple of years. It's been a lot, and all things considered, I think everyone's getting along really well, and it's the most competitive gym I've been a part of. I mean, there's so much talent, there's so much depth at every position, and just because everyone's so young, everyone's just so fired up to get in there, get into the game, be better, and everyone's pushing everyone. I mean, we've got 3 extremely capable, talented middles. We have, dare I say, 4 incredibly talented outsides who can go in at any time. We've got 2 incredible opposites. I mean, there's just so much more depth and talent and competitiveness that I haven't seen in a while.
You already have a bit of a head start in your career, but you do have a year of eligibility left. We did get a texter who was asking, do you plan on coming back next year, or is it too early to have that conversation?
I think there's some moving pieces still there. I mean, when you look at, the economy right now, things are pretty cyclical. I'm a big subscriber to cyclical economics, and you don't have to be a PhD student to understand you're not in a recession or a depression yet, which means you're at the top or near the top. And I mean, even in the past month, we've seen things have head a little bit south. So I think a lot of jobs that are hiring right now, those jobs might not be available in a year. It's a very competitive job market, and I'm still exploring some opportunities here and on the mainland, and depending on how the season wraps up, there's really a lot of moving pieces still. It's too soon to tell. All
right. Well, we wish you the best in that decision. Enjoy the bye week. Make the most of it. And then, of course, we wish you the best going back into Big West play against UC San Diego next week. We are up against, unfortunately, the end of the show. So I want to thank Charlie Wade. I want to thank Kurt Nster. I want to thank Christian Tatiski, as well as my colleagues at ESPN Honolulu, Keegan Ota, Gary Dickman, Jaron Kabashigawa, Cole Mousoff, and back at the studio, Liz Stacy. I'm Kanoa Leahey. Until next time, everybody, we bid you aloha here. It's the Charlie Wade Show on ESPN Honolulu.